praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders that rule well, which are the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom, Wabaraki, and peace and blessings to all the brothers and sisters in the faith. We're here again for another edition of National Debt Clock over here in Manhattan Borough, New York State, New York City, West 44th Street, 6th Avenue. And the topics we're going to get into today for those Negroid, Indian, and Hispanic, Latino descent on their father's lineage is just biblical prophecy, letting you know that we're living in the last days according to the Holy Bible. Before the world even calls God sends His Son, who the world even calls Jesus Christ, to destroy America and to save the elect of the nation of Israel. The article we're going to get into today is entitled 15 Signs that the Economy is Rapidly Getting Worse as we head into 2013. Because once again, despite everything that this government and this news stations try to use witchcraft on you with, because essentially that's all it is. Throwing spells and illusions, making you think that this government is going to be doing better than it actually is, and that we're going into a growth period when that's a lie. We're living in the last days according to the Holy Bible, and according to the Holy Bible, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. But before then, you're going to have certain events take place, such as this economy collapsing and all hell breaking loose. So, with no further ado, go on pan to the debt clock so you can get a visual for yourself. Stay tuned. Now, pardon me for the lack of clarity regarding the debt clock, but if you follow along what you may be able to see, I'll help guide you. Now, what you're looking at right here is the U.S. National Debt Clock, which is stated as our national debt, which currently sits at $16,373,549,900,000 and growing. And your family share sits at $138,762. Okay, the national debt clock. I'll read it as such again. Our national debt, $16,373,550,100,000 and growing. Your family share, $138,762. Now, before we get into the article, first scripture I want to get into, just to pan everything back to the Holy Bible and to bring the filter and understanding ultimately. Because despite whatever article you may hear or may see on the news or whatever TV casting you may watch on the teletube, if it can't be filtered through the scriptures, it's disinformation. So, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, and the Apocrypha, chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And as you may see, with this scripture being applied to today, that's going according to the so-called white race who, inside of the Holy Bible, is known as the nation of Edom, from their forefather Esau. We read it again, Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, and the Apocrypha, chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, those unrighteous dealings took place with slavery. Okay, not just servitude or voluntary employment, but actual slavery, unrighteous dealings, where one nation of people, you so-called blacks, West Indians, Haitians, were stolen from the western shores of Africa and brought over here against your will to serve bondage in this land that you're standing on, America. Another unrighteous dealing was the fact that they went under the guise of so-called manifest destiny to force this white Christ, this Cesare Borgia image, which is known throughout all the world as who they ignorantly think of as Jesus Christ, which is a lie. Unrighteous dealing was they used that image to slaughter, brainwash, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Seminole Indians, and Aztec Indians that were dwelling over here in America. Not even just in America, but over Hispaniola, in these different regions, islands where the so-called Latinos and Hispanics dwell. Reading on. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, it was very injurious what took place with our people, under the hands of the so-called white man, the devil the Bible speaks of, meaning the great deceiver. The unrighteous dealings was, for example, over 400 treaties being signed with the so-called Native Seminole Indians, but not one of them were kept. Injuries were given by the way of them being granted and given hospitality by the so-called Native Seminole Indians, but then they turned right around and slaughtered them, stabbed them in the back. Smallpox, aka anthrax, which you people may not be aware of regarding Christopher Columbus's voyage and his journey over to the New World, so to speak. When he found the so-called Native Seminole Indians, he was embraced with love but retaliated with hate. To the point where millions of innocent lives, millions of so-called Native Seminole Indians were slaughtered. That will be considered injuries to today. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. And the way you got those riches is by thievery. The way you got this American land was by stealing it. The way you obtained the rulership of the whole world, the power of the whole world, was by your blessing, the sword, which you received from your forefather Esau. That was his blessing. But ultimately, he lost the true blessing, which was the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, rulership, slaves from the other nations, and everlasting power from the Most High. He lost that blessing, he lost that inheritance to his twin brother Jacob, which is the forefather of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Seminole Indians. So due to these things applying to today's day and age, Sirach, Ecclesiastes 10 and 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another people. The kingdom, meaning rulership. Rulership is translated from one particular group of people to another group of people. And as you can see, according to the Holy Bible, that is being panned out today. So where the so-called white man's rulership, who's known as Esau or Edom, the Edomites of the Bible, their rulership is falling down right before your eyes, as you can see with this $16 trillion debt crisis growing steadily.